Hey everybody, as you know, we're doing this You Ask, We Answer sermon series. We started talking about the topic of homosexuality and really how our church and Jesus's church should respond to this issue. And as a result, a lot of questions came in. So we're just going to jump right in and go straight into some of the questions that you asked and we're answering on the topic of homosexuality. Question number 1. Why does the society hide the physical dangers of male homosexual behavior? Well, I guess I'll try to answer this one. Whoever worded or wrote this question, by the word society, I'm assuming you're talking about from outside the church, and people outside the church are non-believers. And so why do non-believers hide anything? Because of sin. So if you're asking, is there a deliberate, intentional attempt to mislead people about the physical dangers of male homosexual behavior? I would say, yeah, probably. And if you're asking, why is that happening? Because of sin. That's the best that I can give you, because I really don't have any expertise on this subject.
Yep.
Hey, this is an open-ended question. Here you go, guys. What does the Bible say about homosexuality?
The short answer is that it is sin. The longer answer is that it's sin. Romans, Paul talks about that homosexuality is the byproduct of abandoning a biblical correct view of God. Romans chapter 1, we see even in the Levitical law where God gives out proper relationships between men and women, husband and wives, and homosexuality is described as a type of behavior that is against the character of God as it pertains to relationships that he's established. So biblically, homosexuality is a sin.
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, we have the benefit of knowing what other questions are coming. So I will say there's more on that we can say that we'll deal with in other questions, just about really specifically layering into what the sin of homosexuality is and what it's caused by. So I don't know that I want to say more. I think there's some dividing lines of, and I think we've already talked about this a little bit, the difference between homosexual action and just the temptation of same-sex attraction. There's such confusion about the same-sex attraction being this horrendous thing that isn't actually homosexuality, and that's a whole other conversation that we're going to get into later.
Yeah. This question is so open-ended that we could spend an hour just answering this question. Here's what I would ask you to do. Go back and read Genesis 19. Go read Leviticus chapter 18. Go read Romans chapter 1. Go read 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Go read 1 Timothy chapter 5. That's going to give you kind of a overarching picture. But then there's about 50, and I'm not exaggerating, about 50 other passages of Scripture that kind of talk about, in a roundabout way, men laying with men, women laying with women, unnatural, uncarnal lust. So when you ask the question, what does the Bible say? Well, there's about 50 places that we could go to give you the whole picture. But this question, and Pastor Allen has already answered the following question, which is homosexuality a sin?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, it's a sexual sin along with many other sexual sins, but cannot be explained away as anything other than sin. Right. The act of homosexuality.
Yes.
Following question. How do I get my gay friends back into church? I'm going to stop because this is the last time I'm going to use the word gay to refer to homosexuals today. The word gay in the English language means happy. I am a happy person. I would be gay because I'm happy. I'm not sure how the English community gave the word gay up to refer to just one sexual orientation. So from this point forward, I'm going to use the word homosexual. How do I get my homosexual friends back into church? Guys?
I want to be cautious to not assume too much. But if I read into this of the only place my homosexual friend is going to hear the gospel is if I bring them to church. And so I want to bring them to church so that the pastor can make them not homosexual anymore. I'm gonna pump brakes there and go, maybe maybe church isn't where you should be trying to get them. Maybe the first step for you is to be sharing the gospel with them faithfully and humbly and in love originally. If you just leave that up to other people, that just from someone knowing a few homosexual people that do try to go to church often, that can be a big problem for them if what they feel is all the people around them that are trying to get them to church don't actually have any involvement in their lives spiritually outside of the church. If in addition to sharing the gospel with them one-on-one, you want them involved in church life, I think that's a much tougher question because of the pain and hurt that's associated with between the church and the homosexual community. And you have to be loving and gentle and supportive in them entering back into that relationship with the church.
Okay. Any other thoughts on this one?
I would agree. The question of how do I get my homosexual friends back in the church? Well, the same way you get anybody else who feels ostracized and hurt by the church back into church, with love and with understanding.
Yeah, I think the issue at stake here is there's no difference between a homosexual and anybody else who's outside of church. So use whatever approach you would do to reach any neighbor with the gospel with a homosexual. Use whatever approach you would use to reach any neighbor and try to get them into church with you with a homosexual. I don't think there's a different set of rules here, other than don't take them to a church that condones this. But don't take them to the church that drives them out the door and says you're not welcome here because of this. So be careful the church that you're taking them to. Hey guys, you've asked some great questions on the subject of homosexuality and how should the church respond to it. Don't go anywhere. Check out this next video and we'll answer some more of your questions.